Hello, my name is Raymond Chow from EO Malaysia, and I'm your host for the EO APAC podcast series named Sustaining APAC. Join me as we listen to EO members across APAC and their stories of how they are getting through these times, how they've gotten through many crises before, what they're innovating in their industries, and how they are leading through this crisis. As entrepreneurs, we have all been preached about constantly having to disrupt our own business, to adapt to changes that happens to our industry and our world. We know it's a constant, a need to be brave to make this change. But what's happening today is something I think we all did not foresee. This change happened too quickly, and a large majority of SME population globally are having to deal with this sudden need to be a leader in crisis. So we're kicking things off in the EO APAC podcast series with someone that I truly respect as a mentor, a fellow entrepreneur, and also a friend. He's ran successful companies in Malaysia and now dedicates his time to lead his peers in EO with the Regional Leadership Academy. Many of us know him as Papa George because we see him as a wise young man that has led not only us in Malaysia, but globally the organization of EO through his experience for more than 15 years. Not only does he have a lot of wisdom, he's also kind and constantly inviting anyone coming to Malaysia to visit his very world-famous durian farm. So today we'll be speaking to none other than EO Malaysia member, George Gan. Hi, George.
Hi, Raymond. How are you?
Very good, very good. So firstly, George, thanks so much for doing this with me. I know we're all at home now. There's nothing much we can do, but it's really about either we stay home or we do something about our time, right? And there's something that I always learn a lot from you, which is always this message of time. Firstly, maybe, George, you could very quickly introduce yourself. Tell us some stories or a little bit of story about how you're seeing EO members all around the world going through this crisis.
Well, Raymond, firstly, thank you for the opportunity. What happened right now is that we see tremendous amount of effort, both in an organized and fluid manner, where members around the globe are coming together to give each other messages of hope. They come together in love, in compassion. And I feel that in moments of isolation like this, just to feel connected, just to hear from somebody somewhere in the world is a very, very powerful relief and just to a big comfort just to get people talking to each other. And as part of my daily routine, I connect with 10 EO members every day that I have not had the opportunity or time to stay closely in contact. So I do that 10 EO members a day that I just connect and send message of comfort to each other. Talking about the crisis and the moment of uncertainty that we are having, I had the opportunity of going through a few global recessions before, as far back as my first recession when I just started as a young man, as an entrepreneur back in 1986, 87, which is the oil crisis that created the commodity crisis. So I'm able to chart forward and plan today based on remembered knowledge, things that has happened in the past as guiding principles. But I'm also very mindful that remembered knowledge is only part of it. Our senses and our observation give us current knowledge that we have to use to base our decisions on. So I have the chance to think back of the days that when I had my first, or when I went through my first major global recession. It brought back a lot of painful memories of businesses going downhill. I think some of the most painful memories of those years was retrenchment, having to let go employees, friends that have been with us for a while, and knowing that we are focusing at that time on saving the business, but at the same time knowing that they would be unemployed and they have nowhere to go. So on one hand, we want to do what's right for the business. On the other hand, the other expression of leadership, compassion, kindness, love, have to come into full play as well. So it's a fine balance between doing things objectively for the business and at the same time having the human compassion and the human touch that is most needed at moments like this.
So knowing what you know now, right? So going through those experiences, you talked about love and compassion as well as needing to do something for the business. So how has that experience helped you? How does somebody go through the same thing again now?
Looking back, I think what I am reminded of and I'm very aware of is the velocity of change. From a business perspective, even though a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we have a game plan, we have some ideas, some priorities, but recognize that in a moment of crisis and a start of a recession like this, the velocity of change is more important than just about changes and dealing with uncertainty. What I meant was that what we think that we need to do 2 weeks ago may change as real data and real development are happening real time. So our ability to be responsive in the moment is very, very critical as a leader, whether it's about our family status and safety or the business well-being and that of our employees and our communities. The other thing is to be self-motivated, to be inspired that even in a moment of crisis like this, we keep our eyes slightly higher and know that in a few months from now, maybe by the end of the year, things will be better. We will be on an upswing. So by focusing on our future, give us hope and make us feel that whatever we are going through, it will come to pass in a few months, and we will be in a better, stronger position out of that.
So you mentioned earlier that you connect with 10 EO members on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
So why is that? Why do you feel that's necessary, and why do you do it every day? Is there something that you're doing which we can learn from?
Well, I'm trying to set a few things that I want to do over the next period of, a month, 2 months, so that on top of my day-to-day, on top of what we do in our vocation, would there be opportunities for me to focus on a few personal priorities? One of them is among the 2 or 3 things that I want to achieve in the next 2 to 3 months for myself, one of them would be to connect 10 people, just to give each other comfort that, and to recognize that never in the history of mankind have we been so united in a moment of crisis. That this is a global crisis and we are all talking about the same thing to everybody across the globe. So it's about giving each other comfort. So when I give words of hope and a message of comfort to somebody else, in the same moment, at the same moment, I'm receiving the same level of comfort myself, so that I feel stronger, I feel more powerful to move forward as an entrepreneur.
So in your travels, right, George, I'm going to take it a little bit, maybe along the same lines. So in your travels, you've been doing so many regional leadership academies all across the world. You do it together with Warren Ruston. So are some of those lessons very applicable to what EO member leaders are going through today? And maybe you can share a couple of them.
Yeah, sure. I had the unique opportunity to work with many, many amazing EO leaders through the Leadership Academy and other EO projects. And I had the unique privilege of spending a lot of time with Warren, who is an amazing, amazing human and mentor. And what I draw from it is that this is a moment where we put aside knowledge and just trust ourselves that we already have what it takes within, that we already have the knowledge. We do not need to look at outsiders for guidance. We have a lot of the knowledge. Today is about putting those knowledge and practice those life skills that we have. Is the ability for us to put into action what we already know, to have the same discipline, the same motivation and intentionality to do things. Um, many of the lessons and the awareness and the consciousness we receive when we go for the Leadership Academy are specifically relevant and important in a moment like this. The ability for us to stay focused every day, to wake up, go through our routine, the 10-10-10, and to prepare ourselves for to live a life of intention by the day, to prepare ourselves to take advantage of the opportunity and the moment is very, very powerful.
Mm.
Um, I had the opportunity a day ago, yesterday, to have a meeting online with another group that I work closely with. This is the DESP, Direct Education Services to the Poor, together with my mentor, Brother John, and a group of individuals that are motivated in that fashion. So a couple of EO members joined me in the call, and it was very powerful because we are all saying the same thing. And one of the message that I became aware of from the call yesterday was that this is a moment for us to go inside. It's a moment for us to become more aware of our senses, to be conscious of our surrounding, to be able to hear the birds and the sound, the movements around us, is to have that opportunity to re-examine our values, re-examine our priorities. That inner journey is very, very relevant today. And I find that that itself gives me a lot of strength. That looking inside, maybe more than ever now, allow us to discover the truth and to learn that the truth is within us and not outside us. That the truth is not what we see and we senses, but the truth is within. And somebody on the call, I think it was Joanna Ling, that asked the question, what do you mean by the truth? And the answer was that the truth is our own understanding of life. That is the truth. So at moments like this, other than the doing and the busy dealing with events and issues, is a opportunity to re-examine, is an opportunity to reflect, to contemplate, and to discover that truth. And are the values that we talk about in good times still relevant in a moment like this? Are we able to hold on to those values? So I find that there's a lot of parallel in the conversation that we had yesterday with many of the conversations we had at RLAs and GLAs. It's about finding that truth within, so that we are not only the amazing leader in good times, we are the same consistent person that lead in good times as well as lead in crises. We are the same consistent person that is able to lead in wealth and also to lead in fear and despair. And I find that more is expected of us as EO leaders to really shine through the moment, to really be able to use the opportunity to reach out to others. And if our family is well taken care of, if our business is on reasonably good foundation, this is the moment that we will reach out to others. This is the moment to reach out and see what we can do. It could be providing resources or just a message of hope, just a message to say, hey, my thoughts are with you and I empathize with you. I know what you're going through. Give me a call if you need somebody to talk to.
That's really very amazing. This is one of my biggest take home from this. So this truth within, I guess, I've always felt that in times that I am in trouble, I'm in despair. When I start helping others, right, suddenly that self doubt or that self despair that I have suddenly disappears.
Yeah,
Right? Is that what you mean by also finding truth, right? By it's not just about us. I think we are all going through all this thing together, and
yeah,
this uniting together as EO. It is, I guess, it's time to actually find a way to remove that sense of it's just about me,
yeah.
right? But it's about us.
And I totally agree with you, Raymond. I think you summarized it well. I feel that initially our reaction is safety, that our family and our personal safety is not compromised. I think that is fair and reasonable. But very quickly, I think the relief comes not just about looking after ourselves, but to be able to serve a bigger purpose. And the bigger purpose could be as simple as helping a few of our friends and EO members to go through this difficult period and just to lend a hearing ear, just to give them time to talk. And we talk about the truth. Very often, I find that in many of my engagements with EO members have this thirst for learning, and we are always seeking information, seeking knowledge, seeking new tools, new skills. And I feel that at certain point, we have to recognize that that knowledge, that truth is not out there that somebody has written about in a book. The truth is within, that we have to look inside to discover that truth. And that is the ultimate. So we talk about transcendence, there is a bigger power outside, and very soon we discover that it's really not outside. The big power is within. And when we reach that stage of enlightenment, and then that truly give you the ultimate clarity. It's not about the clarity of a business plan, a distant landmark. It's the clarity of what we are about. It's the clarity of identity. It's the clarity of who we are and our purpose and our why. And with that internal clarity, are we able now to have clarity external to us? And this is a opportunity for many of us to spend time in silence, to spend time in solitude, to just reflect and think about that truth within and to discover for ourselves our true identity. And moments like this are special. Um, so that's what I've been doing. That's what we have been talking to a few of friends and help each other to go through that journey.
Thank you so much, George. We are about up for time. This was really, truly a blessing for me as well to be able to talk to you. And really, in summary, what I get is really understand, having a moment of consciousness within ourselves to really think about things that's happening around us, but not just for us, but really what is happening within us, right? And really thinking really very hard, like what you said, even to reflect what are the things that we can do for others other than ourselves, right? And find these moments that we can actually be of present to the world and doing this together. So thank you very much, George, for your time today.
Thank you, Raymond, and I wish you safety and keep healthy.
Thank you, George. So that's it for today's episode, everyone. Join me for the next one and do subscribe to this podcast and share this with all your EO peers so that it could benefit them as well. Have a great EO APAC day, and thank you everyone for listening.